Hi, everybody. Whoa, what'd you do?
I just
messed with my camera.
I am, because otherwise I'm like all the way over here, and I don't want to be like, I'm peeking. No, just kidding. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the first episode. Wait, what?
Well, I just said my camera's being weird. It's like doing all this thing. Anyways, welcome to the first episode of Cash and
Courage. I promise we will get a better jingle in the beginning. Just kidding. You guys, we are back. I know we used to call this the Joe and Debbie show, and that worked for a while, and then we had to take a break, and we are back with Cash and Courage.
Mm-hmm.
That is going to be our deal moving forward. And so what was I going to say? Anytime you want to see us, but we will be here on Joe's feed every Monday. Right now, I think 1 p.m. works, 1 p.m. Mountain Time.
We'll see. We might vary with the time, depending on who joins and who doesn't. But
right.
We're going to be more consistent over the next few weeks.
And you guys, if you're like watching this and replaying, you're all, if you guys showed up early, like 7 a.m., I might be there. Or if you showed up late, like 6 or 7 p.m., don't give me that look. 7 a.m. Mountain.
I'm just saying, like, all who know Debbie won't be asking for 7 a.m. in the morning because you know that.
It could happen. I could be up at 7 a.m.
It could.
I just wouldn't look like this. I would probably look like this. We can do early Cash and Courage as long as you don't mind a little bit of bedhead in there. But our goal is to be here every Monday for you with more principles about cash and courage, right? Because what do we want most, babe? You're playing with settings. I don't know what that means.
Facebook changed it all. Who knows?
Yeah, this is all weird.
Hi, everybody who joined. Apparently, we don't have a chat, so we can't even chat back.
Wait, we don't have a chat?
No chat.
What? What is happening?
I know.
Oh my gosh, guys. What just happened? Our goal is to be here every Monday
click it off.
I'm trying. It's not letting me click it off.
There.
You guys, it's not showing us a chat. I can't be here without. Hold on. I'm gonna open my phone.
You got to turn the volume down.
I'll turn my volume down.
We do have stuff to talk about, but this is pretty fun because it's been a while since I've live streamed.
Yeah, from our feed.
Facebook overtook my browser, so I had to kill it when it first started, and
this is crazy stuff.
It's been a chore. Like, I'm the technology guy, and I'm having problems with technology. That's how you know how messed up it is.
Bless their face. Okay. Yay, we have Amy here and Jeanette here and Jenny Williams here. Yay! Hello.
Yay.
It's good to see you guys. So we'll be here every Monday. If you think a different time other than right now is a better time for us to meet, we'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. Maybe we could add a poll. It did say create a poll up there.
Yeah,
we'll figure that out. And we'll figure out this whole Facebook Live thing.
You too can be an entrepreneur.
Yes, you can. You too can be successful. So what do we want most for our people?
So here's what I was thinking, right? So Cash and Courage, we want to come here live with you each week, answer some simple questions, just real quick. Obviously, we got to use a different device to get.
We'll figure this out. We'll figure it out.
We might choose a different way to broadcast on Facebook, but we'll show up here on Facebook, right? Because where all you all are at. But we want to share a simple tip about things that have come up in coaching throughout the week.
Yeah, because let's be real. I want you guys to know that when it comes to Cash and Courage, I am on the journey with you. Joe is amazing. Anyone that if you saw his hot seat live in the last weekend at Virtual Expert Live, will you share in the comments how powerful and ridiculous amazing that was? Because it was. Like all of us, there's like 70 people in the audience watching Joe up on stage with one person in this really intimate moment. You see all of us like leaning forward. It felt like we were like peeking in the window at this really beautiful event. Happening. And so what some of the conversations that we're having, I'm on that journey with you when it comes to better understanding and healing the money trauma that I have in my life. Because all of us bring with us that money trauma for our past, whether it's comes from family stories that have been passed down, experiences that we've had, things people have said to us, things they've done to us, things we've seen said and done to other people. All of that is happening, and we carry that forward in the present, and then our decision making is based on
it's all based on these past stories that come up, and who knows what, like this stuff we play in our heads, right? So we really want to come to you and help kind of just like debunk some of these myths, because there's a lot of money myths out there. Help you have the courage from my lovely assistant here. But just combine this whole platform to be able to help you guys more,
right?
Because I think that's at the end of the day, that's what we really want, is to be able to reach the most amount of people we can on this platform and this topic of cash and courage.
Because go ahead.
I was say it takes both, right? It takes courage to look at what the cash stuff is in your life and really address it.
And what it's saying.
Right? And there's so much trauma around cash and money and income in our lives that my whole goal for everybody is that we start talking about money differently. because how we have talked about it is not helping any of us. And so it's time to change that conversation and be courageous enough to actually look at the hard things so that we can start really generating the revenue and making the impact we want in our area of expertise in our lives and those we touch.
Amen. Because we know that when you do what you do so well and you bring it to the world, it changes the world.
Yep.
And that's what we want most. With all of our zillion heartbeats, we want a better world. And because I'm on the same journey that you are when it comes to healing our money trauma, we thought it would be great for me to show up every week with my crazy and my stories and my my come aparts, and share kind of like that insider look at what's happening here. So that you can see what that's like, and we'll share the tidbits, because I'm learning things all week long and I'm like, oh my gosh, your people need to know this. And that's kind of what's starting today's principle. Am I right? More people have come. Vanjie's here, Stephanie's here, Joyce is here. Thanks for coming, everybody. Feel free to say hi. Facebook tells us people are here, but doesn't always tell us who you are. And it's been crazy. So I'm on my phone watching me, watching you, watching me. Anyway, good times. It is weird. It is weird. But anyway, so say hi. We'd love to hear from you. So the principle that we're going to talk about this week, or the conversation that blew my mind on Saturday, I was like, we've got to talk about this on Monday, is measuring money flow. And it's probably not what you think. So is it okay if I give a little bit of background?
Yep, and we'll jump into it. Okay,
so just a tiny little bit of background, and you'll probably hear more of these stories down the road because we're still in the middle of it, is we made a really big decision after this live event that we last attended. We went to Virtual Expert Live, and we were blessed to serve these amazing virtual experts in the room, beautiful, amazing human beings who are doing great, great work in this world. We talked to them about cash. We talked to them about courage. We came home, and we felt so inspired by what transpired in that room and the courage that people had in taking their next steps, that Joe and I had a conversation that we've been having for several months now, which is, when do we want to bring you home? When do we want to bring you home? There's always a reason to not bring somebody home, right? Medical and dental and 401ks and all of those things. But we came home.
But again, all those are just stories that prevent us from moving forward.
Right.
Right. I want to point that out, because a lot of times we make decisions based upon money stories and not actually on the money.
Right.
Right.
That's a good way to say that. So we're making the decision based on the money story, because you guys, I kid you not, like a million stories. I bet you and I could swap all day long, right? About how money is abusive, money doesn't show up, money leaves too quickly, like all those things. So we sat down on Tuesday when we got home and had a conversation, and it was like, okay, we're doing it. We're doing it. The same courage that we required from the women and the men in that room, we looked at each other and we're like, it's time for us to have that same courage. And so Joe, and how powerful was that? How powerful was that Tuesday to be able to like walk into your boss and just hand over your stuff and be like, this isn't in alignment with me, I'm out.
It was good. It felt good. It felt in alignment with the direction I'm going with my own values. So yeah, like Debbie said, I drove to work, handed over my laptop, and I said, it's been fun, but we're done.
Yeah. And there's a whole more stories to go with this.
We'll get into all that.
And we'll tell that like another time. Probably at our live workshops and live events, we'll have that conversation. But it was an alignment for him to walk away. And so both of us were like, if we're not looking at our money story to make the decision, if we're looking at alignment and integrity to make that decision, and belief and courage in ourselves, what's the right decision? And it was like, the right decision is for him to quit his job and to come full time into this business with me, right? So I'm doing my thing, he's doing his thing, we're doing this thing together. It's amazing. And that was beautiful. And I was like, I'm in it to win it, right? And I was so good, so good, so good. And we were on fire through the week, taking care of things, handling stuff that needs to be handled. And then Saturday came.
And the meltdown, right?
And the meltdown came. And I was like, what have we done? Look at the bank account. Because, you know, Saturday we sat down, we did finances. I paid off like a ton of like bills on the credit card, and we paid for several different kinds of virtual experts to be in our life, and we paid for airfare for what's coming up in this next quarter. And I'm just watching the things go out of my account, and I'm crying, and I'm like, oh, what have we done? this is not, I'm like, this, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. I don't know, because the money isn't in the account, and the money isn't in the account. And Joe, the money isn't in the account, even though we have money in savings and we have money in the pipeline coming in. I was still having a meltdown. And what analogy did you give me? What did you teach me?
Well, first I want to say is, follow our example if it's in alignment with you, but be financially responsible for yourself and for your family, first of all, right?
Always responsible, always.
That's
why I say in alignment.
Yeah. That,
to me, being in alignment means we've looked at all of the factors and we've said, this is a wise decision for our family.
Yep.
Okay. That's what we're talking about. So it should always be done in wisdom, right? In conversation with higher power. You better believe we had higher power in the room too, being like, what's up? Like all of that is part of it. So yes.
Okay. I just want to call that. So here's what.
Yeah, because what we don't want is like someone just to like burn their ships, quit their job, run away, and be like, Joe and Debbie told me to quit my job, and now I'm like out on the street. That's not what we're saying. Be responsible, right?
So we have the money. We have money coming in, right? We have things flowing.
I have a business that's been built for like, in this iteration, we've been flowing for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Right. So there is reason why we can be confident in what's coming
Our
next.
Business offerings are good. Like there's a lot of things that are sound with what we have. So, this time it's different because this is not the first time.
But I think some people, and Jeanette, I think you're one that can agree with me, even though we know what the right thing is that's next, sometimes we still hold on to the old thing because it's comfortable. Right. Jeanette's my girl. I was watching your hot seat and I was like, I'm with you. I'm with you. So anyway, there's that. But so that was the choice that we made. And after my meltdown, what did you say to me?
Well, I just want to comment. So I see comments coming in on the phone.
Yeah.
And Jeanette, I was doing it full time, but I was also working full time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So as you're looking at the stories and things we talk about, I was working a lot, like insane amounts of hours on all kinds of different things. So
double time and sometimes triple time, if that's even possible.
Yeah.
Because sometimes his work was requiring him to work like 50 to 60 hours because they weren't happy with the timelines that they set that were, anyway, that's a whole other.
So anyway, just looking at people following this example, right? I mean, it takes a lot of lift to get your own stuff running.
Yeah.
And you got to do what you got to do to take care of your family as well, right? Which is what we've been doing for the last year.
Yes.
So there's a lot more, and as we roll through these videos, we'll uncover more of that. But anyways, so as Debbie was talking to me, right, and we had this conversation, here's the analogy. For those who live next to the mountains, as we do in Utah, you might understand this a little better, and I'll try to explain the best I can. But whenever I look at money, I always look at money and relate it to like it's water, right? Because water gives us life. Money is simply a resource like water is, and it should flow through our lives as water does, right? And anybody who knows about the mountains and knows about like how like the whole ecosystem works, this will make sense. And if not, hopefully I can explain it in a way that will make sense for you. So we live in a high elevation desert in Utah, meaning that in the wintertime, we get lots of snow in the mountains, right? Because we're right up against the mountain base. And in the summertime, it's super hot. Like,
like we get very little precipitation.
And yeah, it rains hardly at all in the summertime. So for us to survive here, we are always expectant to get a lot of snow. So we're relying on a good snowfall for us to have water throughout the year until it shows back up.
So our winters are super important, and the amount of snow we get on the mountain is super, super important.
It really dictates whether we can water our lawns. I know what said it was a high elevation desert. We still have grass here, right?
Yeah, we're all trying to live like we're on the coast here.
That's a story for another way.
Yeah, but it's true. We're all.
So anyways, as we're looking, and so I looked at it and I said, we can see the water in the stream. And that's the water that we get life from, right? It creates life around it in the riverbeds and along the banks of the river. It also flows down into the valley where we're at, and then we capture it and then use it for culinary water and to water our lawns so we can survive as humans down here, right? But we still expect that snow will show up the next winter, right? We always can't guess how much snow is going to be there, but we know it comes, right? So money is the same way. We're going to live off what's flowing into our lives, but we know there's more coming always, right?
And so what blew my mind, is it okay if I share it? So as Joe's telling me this, right? He's like, Deb, when we're looking at how much water we have in the valley, are we measuring based in the valley, or are we measuring based on the snowpack in the mountain? Because if I'm measuring based in the valley, I will never have enough water, right?
Right, because
I will never have enough because it's getting used constantly. But if I'm measuring based on the snowpack in the mountain, I will know what my valley will be able to hold and how much I will have and be able to use based on the snowpack. And that freaking blew my mind. It like green matter everywhere, because I've been basing my money on the measurement in the quote unquote valley, what's in my bank account right now.
What
right?
we see, right? What we can measure at the moment.
And it's like, this is all I have. And I know in my mind, I'm like, this is all the things that I need, but this is what I see. And it's the end of the world and we're all going to die. Like, that's immediately, those who saw me live know I'm very prone to the theatrics. We'll call it dramatic, because I am, because that's what it feels like inside me. I really feel like we're going to die. And so for Joe to remind me that if I stop looking at the valley of my bank account for my measurement and start looking at the snowpack, which is everything that I've done that is already sending money down to me, okay? Because that is happening. If we look at the snowpack of our mountain, of what I've created, then I'm like, oh my gosh, we have plenty. And it's already on its way. It's already melted, right? And that's what we're talking about. It's already melting and trickling down into where I'm collecting it in the valley in my bank account. And so when we're talking about measuring our money flow, what we want to make sure is that we understand that it's important to watch the little aquifer where we collected the water in the valley. That's, you know, because obviously I don't want to get down to zero there and still be like, I can water my lawn all day, every day. Let's just turn it on for 12 hours, right? That's not what we want to do. We want to be responsible. But I'm not going to freak out anymore, because I know that this isn't the true measurement of the life-giving force that I've called into my life. The true measurement is up there on the mountain and what I've created that is going to be feeding my water system down here. Does that make sense? I'm going to ask, does that make sense? I'm going to let you keep sharing like your next thought on that while I check over here.
Yeah, because overall it's the things you're doing. It's the, you know, the things in your business that will generate revenue, but might not be generating revenue at the moment, right? So building live events that might not be paying off right yet, putting together, you know, marketing materials that are going to get you out there, doing live streams to help people see who you are. All these things, right?
Can we back that up even further? Because you blew my mind today with the step before that, because I see the live streams. What you said to me.
What did I say to you?
You said to me is that is the storm that puts the snow on the mountain. The live streams and the like reaching out to people and the being present, the getting seen and heard part, that's the storm, right? That's, we're adding to the storm that's going to come over to our mountain. The mountain is the actual like reaching out and setting up those contracts and doing the work that's going to fulfill the pipeline, right? So like we just did a live event and we had contracts in place for that live event, and that put money on our mountain, and it's going to trickle in over time. Okay, but before that, we did the work to get seen and heard, and we did other events where we were seen so that Kathy went, oh my gosh, I need you. And then she brought us over and hired us to do her live event. Does that make sense? And Jeanette asked a really good question. Are we talking revenue versus profit?
No, that's a different conversation, Jeanette. And I'm going to talk about that because I continue to hear with my clients in an entrepreneurial space, I want to be a profitable company. And that's not good for you. I'm like, I'm not a financial guy at all, right? I just talk about money and stuff.
He just heals people's money relationships and makes them make lots of money.
But here's the thing I want you to look at. Amazon, right? Everybody knows who Amazon is. Amazon didn't become profitable because of business leveraging and things like that until like this year. Or maybe it was last year. Yeah, because we're in 2019. So they've been in business since 1996, okay? And there's reasons, and if you go actually read the article and see what they did, and it's the profit versus loss. But what I'm saying is that a lot of companies, a lot of small entrepreneurs want to be profitable, right? Because they're like, oh, I want a profit. But then I asked them, I'm like, do you want to get paid or do you want to be profitable? And most of them are really just wanting to get paid from their businesses. And I'm like, well, that's a different conversation to have, because you can get paid and your company can still not be profitable, and that's okay. Right? And there's tons of books out there and tons of, there's a book, I haven't read it, but I've heard a lot about it, called Profit First. And I'm not sure, there's a couple of them. And I have a couple schools of thought around them, but yeah, to feel like your business needs to be making profit before you can pay yourself is not the right school of thought to have. You got to pay yourself, because if not, then how can you survive and how can you continue to move on and move forward in your business if you're not taking your salary as part of some of your expenses? It doesn't make sense. In the beginning, I understand that a lot of us are bootstrapping, especially in the very beginning, right? And whatever you have in savings or whatever, if you have a full-time job like an investor job, they're paying for you to start building your dream. I get that, but you have to start paying yourself, right?
Or paying for your life, because we talked about this at the live event where I don't know. I'm, again, terrible. I'm terrible at the actual like profit versus revenue. This is why I have to hire someone to help me with that. But what I look at is it paying for the life that I want? And we do. So if you were to look at my company, you'd be like, there's not a lot of profit there, or very little or zero profit there. But I've been to Hawaii 4 or 5 times in the last 2 years. I've been to New York. I've been to London.
Oh, we've traveled so much.
Yeah. I mean, my pink hair is paid for. At some point we'll lease a car through our business, so our car will be paid for. Like all these things, we write off so much of our house because we operate out of our home. So that's all write-offs there. So our life is almost fully funded by our business. So on the business side, I don't look like I have profit. But the truth is that my lifestyle is fully funded by the work that I do.
And before you go do any of that, make sure you talk to your CPA, because I'm not a CPA or an accountant or anything like that either.
Right.
So
we like Joe's specialty is really looking at what is the story that is preventing you from calling the resources that you want into your life. Yeah. What is the fear? What is the trauma? What happened way back here? I'll go this side. What happened way back here that is impacting your decision making today? Like whether or not you're leaving a job that's actually harming you instead of helping you, whether or not you're choosing into an experience that can actually help you forward, whether or not you're choosing the resources. Like at the live event, those of you that were there knew that moment when Joe was like, you're holding on to 20s and that's keeping you from accepting tens of thousands. And I was like, oh my gosh, I went out and hired 4 VAs because I've been holding on to my 20s, right? I've been holding on to that amount in my bank account. So what we're talking about today isn't revenue versus profit. We're talking about like what's in your bank account, like what number you see in there or what number you see in your check register and how that's impacting you, because you're like, this is all I have. When really, if you look back up the mountain, you have a lot more coming in.
Yep.
And so that's what we really want to look at is what is that story right now that says, oh my gosh, I just spent $3,000 or $4,000 on airfare. The world is going to be over now, right? And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Why is the reaction coming up? Why are you feeling this way? What's going on?
And that's why it blew my mind, because he's right. If I'm looking at my bank account, $4,000 for all the trips we're going on over the next quarter, I'm like, right? But if I look up the mountain and go, oh, but I look at what I've already generated that's flowing in through contracts and connections and resources and all the other things that I've done.
Because of these trips, then that will generate that much more, right?
Right.
And we can still have fun while we go on the trips.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it's all about creating the dual lifestyle.
And I'm drawing you guys a cool picture. Okay. And then, okay. I'm almost there.
But that's really what I want to, I mean, that was the thing about just like looking at it overall, and Deb's got a cool, because she's more visual than I am.
I'm way visual.
Go that way.
Like that. There we go. So this is what we're, thank you. This is what we're talking about. So we have up this side, this is the storm that we create through the live streams and the events that we do and the social media things that we post and the lead magnets that we create and the networking that we have and the talking about what we do and the asking for referrals that we make. This is the storm that we create. And as we do that, it comes over our mountain and it's going to drop a snowpack here. Okay, this is the people that we start talking to, the funnel, the money and the people in the funnel, right? So they've come from the networking or the social media, they've entered our funnel, they're having the conversations, we're closing them down, we're setting things up, and this is even partial fulfillment. So some things that we fulfill don't get paid out right away, but it's like it can be a high-end contract. I know some of you on this feed sign $50 and $60 and $100,000 contracts, but those aren't necessarily all paid up front, but that contract is in place. So you know the money is going to be coming down the pipeline. But that's what we're looking up here is what have I created that I know money is going to come from, that I can count on, even if it's going to be this drip over time from the contracts, and then that's down into my bank account. But if I'm making these decisions based on, oh my gosh, look at my bank account, it's terrifying, there's things that I'm not doing that need to be done to continue, sorry, everything's backwards, to continue this up here. Because down here I'm freaking out, oh, this number is lower than I want to be. So if I listen to the fear that crops up here, then what happens is I don't hire the people that I need to help support me in doing the storm.
Yeah.
That's what's been happening. Sorry, let me go this way. That's what's been happening is I've been so worried about this. I haven't been getting the help I need to do this, which is impacting my snowpack here. But in moving the fear out of the way and trusting myself, okay, and trusting my abilities and in trusting what I can do, that's why it's so important when you look at the 6-figure factor of time, team, and tactics. Like I'm full-time in my business. I have the team in place, or I'm building the team that can support me. I understand how to launch. Now I need to get the pieces moving to continue to build that snowpack on my mountains that will pay out over time. Yep. Does that make sense?
I think it does.
Okay.
Dude, I see stuff. And here's one thing, like I love looking at nature because nature teaches us so much about interaction and money. There's a lot of stuff in nature that teaches about money. So I want to put one caution because some people's like, oh, I see the snowpack. I get this example. I want that snow to melt all at once. Like I want more resources. But those of you who have lived in an area where lots of water accumulates really quickly, that can happen here as well. Right? What happens? It starts to flood and the water no longer provides life, but it becomes destructive.
And those are people who haven't dealt with their money stories or their money trauma before the flow comes in.
So if we can figure out what those stories are, we can start working on that individually, right? And clean up that money relationship, then we can allow more to flow into us.
Yeah.
But if not, then it just creates destruction and death. And that's not what I want for any of you, okay? So just some tidbits and thoughts around, hey, what's the money flow happening in your life? How's it coming in? And where do you feel like the dams are at, right, that are preventing more to come in, right? Those are going to be the stories that you're living by and those things that continue to hold up the water. It's there, but what we got to do is figure out what those are and start allowing that to freely flow into your life and stop pushing it away or stop putting barriers in place that stop the flow from coming in.
And sometimes that's us standing on the mountain and we're like blowing the storm a different direction because we're like, no, don't bring the storm, I'm afraid. And so it's not even the dam on the mountain. It's like up on the mountain. We are not even letting that beautiful, delicious snowstorm pass over our mountain to drop its snowpack because of fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, which we really know is just two things that cover deeper issues underneath. And so as you think about this over the next week, I hope you'll start looking at, I think the things we want you to see is what's on my mountain right now. And the step before that, what's in my snowstorm? And how can I help facilitate the snowstorm and allow it to dump its magic on our mountain so that it can do the job that it's meant to do, which is to fill our valley with the resources that we need to continue to give life.
Yeah. Because honestly, it's there, it's available for all of us. I promise.
Yeah.
We just got to clean this stuff up so we quit pushing it away. You're all amazing manifestors and you have great businesses. The time now is to clean that up so you can have more come in. Stop being so afraid of money because it's here to help you.
Absolutely.
It's not here to make things worse for you, make things harder on you. It's here to help support you in your vision and your goals and the impact you want to make. So now's the time to lean into you and figure out what that is and clean that up so more can flow in.
Awesome.
Cool.
You guys, this was so much fun. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. This was super, super helpful. I appreciate it. Any ones that we didn't get to, we will go back and look at those comments and leave information in there for you. And we will see you next week on Monday. Well, I think we'll try the same bat time.
Sure.
1 p.m. Mountain. Again, if there's a different time that you're like, I really wish you were broadcasting like in the morning or in the evening or some other time, just let us know in the comments and we will make those adjustments. But yeah, so Cash and Courage next week. Choose you, choose your greatness. Let's move the money story out of the way.
Let's do it.
All right.
All right.
Woo!
See ya.
Have a good week. Bye.